Hi, I'm Brent Phillips, and welcome to our VIP Club special event on Seeing Clearly. Today we're going to start the event with the topic of seeing is believing. Or is it? And so the overall goal with this is to give you the knowledge and the tools you need so you can start to see more clearly in your life. Now, of course, exactly what this seeing clearly means for each person is going to be a little different. And it might include some or all of the following. First, and most obvious, seeing clearly could mean an improvement in your physical eyesight. Less obviously, seeing clearly could mean an improvement in your visual intuitive ability, what we call clairvoyance. Seeing clearly also includes engaging in more functional behaviors, thought models, and ways of being. It also includes the release of old limiting belief systems that distort both your physical vision as well as the way you see things. In other words, the perspectives you have in life. And so even better, we'll be using these same processes to help you see more clearly, no matter of which any or all of these meanings of seeing clearly is most important to you. So this is how it's going to work. In the first couple days of the series, we're going to cover the esoteric meaning of vision and seeing clearly. Then we're going to switch gears and put our focus on what you need to know to heal physical vision problems, including things like nearsightedness, farsightedness, and astigmatism. And so, because we humans are primarily visual creatures, it's natural that we tend to think in visual terms whenever we witness or experience something. And so, we tend to trust what we see as being real. In particular, once you see something a certain way, especially if it is an emotionally charged first impression, you form belief systems about that thing. And those belief systems forever distort how you see it, at least, of course, until you have the technology to change those beliefs. As a positive example, I remember when my grandpa Murray took me to my first Major League Baseball game. I was just 3 years old. We had these incredible seats right behind home plate at Angel Stadium, and I absolutely loved it. In fact, never again in my life have I had such amazingly good seats at a baseball game. Now, at the time, I was just 3. I didn't really understand the game. But I knew something special was happening, and I felt loved by my grandpa. Ever since, I've enjoyed watching baseball, even though I'm the first to acknowledge it can sometimes be pretty darn boring. And I think partly that's because baseball connects me to that magical evening with my grandpa when I was 3. And so in this case, I had a formative early experience in life that permanently changed how I saw baseball, in this case in a positive way. And so most of us take it as axiomatic that seeing is believing. However, I think if you dig deeper, you'll find the underlying truth is in fact just the opposite. Seeing isn't believing. Instead, believing is seeing. And so most of us humans tend to think and communicate using visual terms and visual metaphors. And so we give visual perceptions the greatest weight of any sense. So we generally trust that things we see clearly as being real, as being true. But what's really going on? When we see something clearly, for example, you may clearly see the chair you're sitting on right now. You immediately assume that what you're seeing is real, and it's somehow out there in the world, that is, not connected to or part of the observer. And so, when you see your chair, what's really going on is that your visual biological perception mechanisms are capturing light that bounces off the chair. That light then goes into your eye, and then the light is passed through the optic nerve, which then generates a signal in your brain. Your brain creates the image of the chair in your mind's eye. You see it. And further, as you see something, the experience of the visual perception is interpreted according to your many subconscious belief systems. And your mind applies automatic and immediate judgments. It applies meaning to what you're seeing, sometimes giving you a strong emotional reaction. As an example, let's say you got up from your chair and one of your friends ran in and split the chair in two with a big axe. That would be surprising. You might give the experience of seeing the chair being cut in half the meaning that, oh my gosh, my friend just ruined my chair. Or something like, oh my gosh, it's going to cost me $300 to replace that. And I guess you're going to be upset with your friend. And so The following nicely summarizes the process by which most of us tend to think life works. 1. There is some objective external reality out there, like the chair you're sitting in. 2. That we are separate beings that have some sort of biological perception mechanism that allows us to perceive this objective external reality in a consistent way. As an example, we probably all see that chair you're sitting in as having the same size, the same shape, the same color, the same texture, etc. Number 3, what we perceive is true, and the internal world and the meaning we give to our experience has no impact on this objective external reality that's out there. So, as an example, before I understood energy healing and the power of the subconscious mind, I used to think that maybe if I got dumped by my girlfriend, then if I had a bad attitude about it, if I run around telling myself, oh my gosh, I'm such a loser, no one's ever going to love me, what I thought was I was just stating the truth. That's just what was happening. And my thoughts and attitude about the situation had no impact on whether or not I might find love again. Back then, I believed that whether or not I found love was some combination of luck and taking action that depended on what happened out there in the world. I believed there was this external reality that was out there that had no connection to my thoughts or attitudes that are in here. In other words, I used to think, like most people, that seeing was believing. And so, according to this old model, clear physical perception is the direct route to truth. And so it's understandable that we get attached to our perceptions. In this case, it's especially important to know that we are seeing things clearly because we think our perceptions can only distort this clear external objective reality that's out there. And so it seems obvious that we want to have good eyesight so we can see clearly what's really out there. That allows us to better seek the good in life and avoid the bad stuff. However, if you're really serious about seeing clearly in your life, about increasing your spiritual vibration, you have to let go of this old model. It's just plain wrong. The truth is, there is no objective external reality. This fact was beautifully summarized in the documentary movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? They said this: there is no out there. In other words, in the highest truth, there is no distinction between you and me and all the stuff that's out there in the world, the other people. When you realize there's actually no separation, it makes perfect sense that your internal world, particularly your belief systems and perspectives, not only influence but actually create the so-called external reality that's out there. And so now, I've got some good news and also some bad news about reality. We'll go with the bad news first. Most of what you've been taught about your life and the world and God is somewhere between incomplete and incorrect. Even worse, these partial truths and misunderstandings are at the core of much of the dysfunction and suffering in your life, including but not limited to problems with physical vision. The good news is that the truth of how the universe really works is far grander, much more elegant, and more benevolent than anything our limited human minds could imagine. And when you can see this higher truth clearly, lives transform and miracles tend to happen. That's all I have for today. This is the end of the introduction, day 1 to the series. I'll see you soon for day 2. Until then, take care.